Good things, big things happening. It's, of course, for GeekCon, and a lot of people excited for that. But this is something a lot of people are excited for as well, fantasy football. And the self-proclaimed fantasy football expert is in studio. Taylor Gibson. Taylor, good to see you, buddy. And I know you're pumped about the upcoming season for fantasy.
Yeah, so obviously we have our coworker league that we're in here at KTBS, and I couldn't be more excited to spend some time with y'all. You know, fantasy football has been one of the highest and most fun and fast-growing games in the U.S. and Canada. We have 60 million people a year that play fantasy football sports.
Wow.
And the super cool thing about that is that women are actually a huge growing demographic, especially this year more than ever. The number has gone up to about 35% of women that are playing fantasy sports are playing fantasy football. So
it's huge.
It's such an awesome thing.
I found that to be interesting, that the fastest growing demo in fantasy football is women.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond, knowing that women don't need to know all the stats. Guys don't know all the stats and everything else, but it's still, I feel like fantasy is great because it gets you in the game. It keeps you hooked on games that you otherwise would not. So the popularity behind this is just insane, Taylor.
Yeah, and so for people that are learning fantasy football, it's very easy to get into. You draft real life NFL players. You come together with your coworkers, family, friends, whoever you want to, and you draft these NFL players. And based on their performance in real life, you score points in a head-to-head matchup against somebody in your league. Yeah. We played last year, and we actually had one of our coworkers, Courtney Butts, was the champion of our league, and she actually has something to tell us this year. Let's take a look.
You heard that right, previous winner, and I'm coming back this Sunday for the draft to defend my title with the best team at KTBS. And so you guys just better watch out because it's going to be a landslide this year.
Courtney talking some smack.
And so, but it's moments like that you can spend with your family, coworkers, friends, that are just makes it so much fun, and it makes enjoying football just a little bit more every Sunday.
It certainly does. So that's what I love about it. That's why you wanted to dive into this today, because the season's going to start in just a couple of weeks. So that is why this weekend will be probably the biggest fantasy football draft for millions of Americans. And so we're gearing up for ours too. Can we talk more about this? I need to find out who to draft, who I need to take. Taylor Gibson's going to give me the sneak peek.
Absolutely. We got a little bit of strategy up next. So you guys just learned what fantasy football is. Let's learn how to win. Coming up soon.
That's what I like. And free of charge too. He's not going to go $2.99 per player. All right, Taylor, good stuff, buddy. Can't wait for that. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and talk something that more than 60 million people in America that they do every year. And that list keeps growing, the number of people doing it. We're talking fantasy football, and we're doing so with Taylor Gibson this morning. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, and thanks for having us. And let's talk a little bit of football. It's the most exciting time of the year, man.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it. And, the drafts are getting set. A lot of people looking forward to fantasy football. Yeah, the KTBS fantasy football that Courtney Butts won last year, the reigning champion. She's going to be eyeing up that championship again. But Taylor, I need to draft some players that are going to help me beat Courtney this year, help me beat you and some others. So for those that don't know, give us the breakdown on how points are scored in fantasy and some of the positions that will help people score the most amount of points for their fantasy football team.
Absolutely. And so kind of how we play is we play in a 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex, which can be either a running back or so typically the traditional easy settings everyone plays on. Typically, you want to draft a lot of wide receivers. If we're playing PPR, that's point per catch. So every single time one of these players catches a ball, you're seeing a point that they will score for your team. Running backs like Saquon Barkley, he led the league all last year in rushing yards and touchdowns. He was an amazing player. That's my guy right there, Jaden Daniels, JD5. Unfortunately, this year, as part of some strategy, you don't want to take early round quarterback. You see those guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels all going in round 3 when you're still trying to draft those guys like a Terry McLaurin you're seeing on the screen right there. One of those wide receivers that can get you big points. And so part of the strategy this year, like I said, I'm getting my wide receivers and running backs early. I'm kind of pushing my quarterback play and my tight end play down the draft a little bit.
So you look at a quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes. It seems like to me you got the upper level of the quarterback position. Is it the same? Do you kind of see that in wide receivers and running backs as well? You got those players that are going to score you a lot of points, and then guys that are going to be like, get you some points every week.
Absolutely, and there's definitely some tiers that go down. Definitely when you're drafting early, I like to get my wide receivers probably done through the first 6 rounds of drafting. So there's definitely tier breaks that with every position. There's tier breaks as you go down, and you that's the fun of drafting is you've got to manage where you want to take that player that might score a little bit less points. Do you want it to be your quarterback? Do you want it to be your tight end? Do you want it to be your flex spot? It can be all in different positions, and that's what makes the game so fun.
Yes, it does. And just playing fantasy football, really, I know for me, it kind of keeps me more in tune on these games on Sunday. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
I'd be flipping through, and nobody wants to watch the Browns.
Yeah, and it makes
Sorry,
you
Browns fans.
root for players that you would never know, right?
Right.
When I started playing fantasy football, I learned about all the different teams, and I can name so many players from different teams now. It's brought football in my life.
Good. I love it, buddy. And so much fun to play. And stick around in our 6 a.m. news hour. I don't know, you're going to give us some actual players that we need to take? All right, give us Taylor's top 5 at least. He's going to do it. So make sure you stay tuned. This guy's talking all things fantasy football, and I am here for it. Yes, a different kind of football, fantasy football. We got Taylor Gibson in studio today breaking down some things to keep in mind when we get ready for our big fantasy football drafts. Now, we wanted to talk about this specifically because more than 60 million Americans are now involved in fantasy football. The fastest growing demo, as we've learned this morning from Taylor, women. And they've been rocking it in the fantasy football world. So, Taylor, buddy, let's dive in this segment about some of the players themselves that we're going to be trying to get in our fantasy football drafts.
Absolutely. A big group of players that I'm really targeting this year is this year's rookie class that we had coming in. As we all know, previous Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter just got drafted this last year to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he is looking to really make a splash this year. That whole receiving group, along with Trevor Lawrence, who we saw Joe Burrow play in the LSU championship game, if you guys remember. He's playing alongside him. Some of the other rookies, Trayvon Henderson for the New England Patriots, rookie running back, reminds me a lot of a rookie Jahmyr Gibbs, who has a chance to be the #1 running back in the league this year.
Now, one thing that you've been telling us all morning, Taylor, is the emphasis not on players like that, even though I know you love that guy.
Yes.
A lot of Tiger fans do, Commander fans, I know you do. The emphasis isn't on quarterbacks, so to speak. And why not take a Patrick Mahomes in the first round?
So it really has to do with scoring points, right?
Sure.
So all the other players, we play PPR, which is point per catch, point per reception. And the quarterback cannot catch the ball himself.
True.
He's
Very
the one
true.
throwing the ball. Now, if the quarterback throws a touchdown, that is, depending on league format, typically around 4 to 5 points.
Okay.
So those obviously are good, but you just score so many more points with other positions. And obviously the great quarterbacks score a lot of points, but the mid-tier quarterbacks that only score a little bit less than them, you can get them at a much bigger value. It's just a lot smarter to take a guy like Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes in like the 7th, 8th, 9th round than picking Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen in the 3rd round, when you can still get guys like Garrett Wilson or Marvin Harrison, or even some elite running backs are still in there like Kyron Williams. All those guys are great, and they're going to score a lot of fantasy points this year.
And it's all about depth. One thing I learned last year is a couple injuries can really inhibit your team when it comes to scoring those points. All right, good stuff to know. And when it comes to winning, when you win, some people say, well, what do you win when you win fantasy football? It can be anything, right?
Yes. So we have a trophy that we are going to start passing around here at KTBS, which is going to be super cool. Some people have belts, and some people play for money.
Sure.
A lot of people, though, if you're just getting in, just get in with your friends and family and play for some bragging rights. That's what we did last year. Courtney Butts obviously got to dominated this year, and so we'll definitely see who brings home the trophy this year.
Awesome stuff. I know Courtney's going to be licking her chops to crush us all again. She did last year, so going to be fun. Most are absolutely free to do, so it's not like you have to pay a lot to do it, but definitely keeps you involved with that football season. Good stuff. And I really want to get specific over who I need to take in our next hit here coming up around 6:50ish. Will you give me your top 5, maybe top 10 players that I need to get?
Taylor's top 10, how you should be drafting in the 1st round. That could be coming next segment. You guys should watch out for that.
This is stuff on other sites that people pay for.
Absolutely.
He's going to be giving it for free. All right. Thanks, Taylor. Can't wait to talk some football this morning. All right. Well, we have been talking a lot about something that millions of Americans enjoy every year, fantasy football. 60 million plus will be clicking those mouses trying to win. And take over their fantasy leagues. We got ours starting from KTBS, and
Sunday.
Yeah, we got Taylor in the house today to give us some tips on what we need to do for fantasy football. And you're going to be talking about some of the big players. You're going to give us Taylor's top picks.
Taylor's top 10.
Oh,
yeah,
look out.
Taylor's top 10.
All right.
Obviously, we had a great year last year, and we got a message from our previous year's champion, Courtney Butts. Let's take a look.
You heard that right, previous winner, and I'm coming back this Sunday for the draft to defend my title with the best team at KTBS. And so you guys just better watch out because it's going to be a landslide this year.
Now, she's
the champ is here.
She's probably watching this segment right now, preparing for our draft on Sunday. She's definitely going to want to take a look at this. We have Taylor's top 10. This is how your fantasy draft should shape out in the first round.
Okay.
We have a couple former LSU players in here that we want to take a look at. First overall, we have Jamar Chase, wide receiver with the Bengals. He had an amazing year, Triple Crown winner last year. He's going to be the #1 pick for us this year. Bijan Robinson, running back for the Atlanta Falcons, is our #2 pick. He had an amazing end to last season. Upgraded quarterback with Michael Penix. Should be a great pick there. CeeDee Lamb, it hurts me as a Commanders fan to put CeeDee Lamb up there, but with the new addition of George Pickens,
sure.
Dak Prescott is back. They should look to make a splash. Our next pick up there is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I
with
was
the
asking
Detroit
about him.
Lions. Yeah, he is younger and is a great running back. They just got a new offensive coordinator, and so they're going to be looking to lean on Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit more than usual this year. Right after Jahmyr Gibbs, we have Ashton Jeanty, the rookie. He's my first riser of the year. Someone on that Las Vegas Raiders team is going to have to score some points. It's going to be Brock Bowers and Ashton Jeanty's year this year. Right after that, we have Nico Collins. If you guys are a Houston Texans fan, he was the wide receiver 1 through the first 3 to 4 weeks last year before coming down with that hamstring injury.
Okay.
Him and CJ Stroud should look to get on pace this year. They lost Stephon Diggs to the New England Patriots. He is all alone in that backfield. He should be really, really good. Here's a teammate of Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kind of the same thought here is that new offensive coordinator, they're going to have to lean on their good players more than ever this year. Amon-Ra actually led the league in red zone targets last year.
Okay.
So if you want a guy to score some touchdowns and get you some points on your team, Amon-Ra is not the flashiest, but he is the safest player in the first round by far. Then there's a familiar name. Again, hurts me, no Commanders players in the top 10, but Saquon Barkley. He led the league last year, but there is a curse that everybody should know about. Once you reach over 370 carries, most running backs get injured the following year. I believe there has been one running back in the past 12 years that has hit that number that has not been affected by the curse. So look out when drafting Saquon Barkley. Then to end up our tier list here, how about 2 more LSU Tigers?
Yeah, how about the Tigers?
Malik Neighbors with the Giants, another great wide receiver, and Justin Jefferson with the Minnesota Vikings. These guys are all great. Some of them have a little bit of more injury concerns. That's why you don't see those 2 guys higher up.
So Madison Edwards, our weekend news anchor here, he has the first pick. Who's he taking?
He's got to take Jamar Chase. The tier from Jamar and everybody else is so far. You got to take Jamar Chase with your #1 overall pick.
Fantastic. I'm in the 7th spot, so we're going to talk a little more when we wrap this up. But
absolutely.
Yeah, some good perspective here. And again, we want you to have the very best draft that you can. So it doesn't take an expert, a self-proclaimed expert like Taylor here. Courtney dominated too.
She beat us all last year,
yeah,
so it can be
see.
anybody. And I think what is really important is spending time with your family and friends, coworkers, whoever you're playing. That's what is so important about fantasy football. I get to spend time with my best friends, Zach, Maverick, and Evan. We all have a fantasy football league that we've been playing for 10+ years. So just being able to spend time with your friends and enjoying that time, that's what it means.
That's what it's all about. All right, buddy. Great breakdown today of fantasy football, and good luck in your leagues.